Welcome everyone to BrowserStack Talks, conversations that turn testing pain points into playbooks. I'm your host David, and on this episode I'm thrilled to be joined by Rosie Sherry, a seasoned expert and a massive community builder, and we're going to be having a nice conversation about what it means to be in the testing community and in testing leadership. Rosie, please introduce yourself.
Hey David, thank you so much for having me. I am Rosie Sherry. I am the founder stroke CEO of Ministry of Testing, and that's a community for software testing and quality engineers. We've been around in its earliest form since 2007, and we just keep growing, keep evolving, keep trying to do stuff for the community. My background comes from a testing background, so my first testing job was in the year 2000, which makes me feel a little bit old, but there you go. And I've managed to combine, I guess, my love for testing and community together into one, which is pretty interesting, I think.
It definitely is, and I think, and we're going to dive into it, like Ministry of Testing is now, at least in the testing space, a household name, right? Everyone knows who Ministry of Testing is. I think it's kind of it's grown over the years, but like, what was the initial spark? Because like, from what I remember and what I can see when doing a bit of research, like it started out just as an online form, but what was the initial spark and what was the vision when you started it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the spark comes from two angles. One was kind of me discovering the idea of community online and meetups, and seeing what the tech world was doing back then in 2007. So that was, it's interesting to look back. That was like when Twitter was starting. It was Web 2.0 kind of era. Not a lot around, but a lot of excitement around the upcoming social web, so to speak. And then, so like for me, partly it was I was in the testing world, and frankly, I didn't find it very exciting. I didn't feel like there was a lot out there for us. The community that existed was very small. It was literally 10 or 20 bloggers. And maybe a Google group or two out there. There was maybe Sticky Minds was there at the time. There was a really old school forum as well. But none of it kind of really satisfied my urge. And at the time I was local to me in Brighton in the UK. I was involved in the local tech scene and seeing stuff that they were doing. And I was kind of jealous, to be honest. I was like, oh, these web developers, these designers, they're all doing all this cool stuff. And here I am as a tester, usually the only tester going to these things. And there's nothing out there for us. So I thought, well, maybe I could start something. So it originally started as an online forum, and it was called the Software Testing Club. I just wanted to have a bit of fun. And have a bit more creativity around what we were doing, and not come across as bland, to be honest. I just wanted more in our lives. I felt like we deserved more, but I didn't know what it was. But I just felt like, I want to have more fun.
Definitely, and I think it's important that. At least in the testing space, like people always see us as incredibly serious people, because like you're at the end of the line, you're the gatekeeper. You always seem to be like arguing people backwards, like, oh no, we shouldn't be doing this. And so the fun side of it's definitely come out from Ministry of Testing, or at least what I saw it. And I remember like 2007, like you say, there was a lot going on at the time, right? There was like Selenium was coming out, Ruby was coming. Not Ruby. Capybara was coming out, WebDriver was all coming out. Like, they were all these new things, and testing was like kind of, it was going through this weird but yet wonderful space at the time. Yeah, I remember back then there was very few places you could go learn from, and so it's fascinating to kind of look back over that time to see how the communities, each of those communities, has evolved in a meaningful way, and some of them have changed quite dramatically in even just the way software is developed nowadays. And like, there's the rise of DevOps and continuous delivery, and like bigger and better tools have come out. Like, how have the needs and expectations of Ministry of Testing community evolved through these huge changes?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? It's tough, especially as we're a small independent company. Um, I think community type companies, conference type companies, media-ish, I would call us as well. We're quite increasingly being more media-like, I would say. And when that's our business model, it's hard to keep adapting with the world. Um, so, like the first few years of Software Testing Club, there's no money in it. Literally, no. I was just doing it like side project. Um, and the reason we got into conferences is like I basically needed to make some money. I was like, well, if I'm going to continue this, then I need to figure out a way to make money. Otherwise, I'm just going to be working for free for the rest of my life, and that doesn't quite work. And I felt like the conference angle was a good one to pursue, um, and that's what we've done. Like since 2012, I think was our first conference, and we've evolved in many ways. So it's like literally just like one conference a year, and then come 2015, it was two conferences, and then come 2019, right before the pandemic, we did 9 conferences across the world,
Wow.
ranging from like 200 probably or 150 people to maybe 400, 500 people at the conferences, um, which is a bit crazy to think about. But a lot of that was kind of going with it, what the community was asking, requesting, and trying to adapt to those needs. In hindsight, was it the best decision? I don't know, but we did it. I'm proud we did it. It was a lot to do. But then the pandemic comes and it forces you to just re-evaluate everything when you're running a business. And I think, luckily for us, like we had started building like a membership model. We were building the tech ourselves behind the scenes. So when the pandemic came, we kind of had that to sustain us as well. I think if it hadn't been for that, then things would look very different now. Um, but yeah, just like changing world as a community focused business is hard, and I think there's also aspects of needs changing, whether people want to attend conferences, whether it's more meetup focused now, um, and just like trying to almost like like conferences are never like a top priority for people's budgets. It's more like, well, tools are probably somewhere where it's somewhat easier to gain budget approval for over conferences, for example. So there's all sorts of challenges around that as a community. But I remain like completely committed and focused, and um, these days we've turned more into a platform, and like the way the social web has gone, or the web in general,
Yeah.
social platforms just don't serve us at all. Um, and just how things have changed in the past 2 or 3 years, it's kind of given me the confidence actually. Uh, Before we were building like a website, it was more membership focused, but now it's turned more into a platform, and we're kind of just saying we can build our own platform. We can build something better than what the social networks provide us, and we're just kind of doubling down on that idea of creating something super valuable that um, focuses on education, but education comes with community, it comes with conversations, it comes with uh, publishing your work online. There's all these aspects that we're trying to build together as a good platform. But it still doesn't make it easy. But at the moment, it's so fun. Honestly, just like changing the mindset of actually we're just going to build a platform, the best platform out there in our heads. That's what we're striving for, quality wise. Is like we think we can build the best uh, quality engineering platform, but maybe the best tech community out there as well. And as as quality engineers, wouldn't that be amazing if we can lead with quality as a conversation and as a community, as a thriving community. Um, but yeah, part of it's somewhat ambitious, but like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's these. I always find when people kind of think a bit, most testers tend to be kind of like more insular, and they kind of don't do like they're always worried about stuff, right? And then you like have these people with the bigger, bolder visions, right? They come along, and then the community go, actually, this is exactly what I needed. I didn't know I needed it until you mentioned it, but now it's exactly the thing. And I think kind of, as you kind of alluded to, right, like you've managed to bridge the digital and the personal side of things, and as you've said, like that, I don't think that was an easy task, right? Like I think that it's something when I've looked into, it's just like how I wouldn't even know where to start, right? And it's I think kind of the community see that as something valuable, right? And so like, how do you, like, with all of this in mind, right? Like for you, I know, like, I've followed your career quite extensively, because like it's I've always cared about community, not to the same extent as you, but like from an open source point of view, right? And so how do you, a leader of kind of such a large community, an active community, how do you measure its health, right? How do you measure that like people are happy, learning, finding mentorship, finding inclusivity? Like, how do you measure something like that?
Uh, Measure is a word that I don't really like, but
Oh,
how do we evaluate? Maybe how do we
yeah,
see that we're doing good in the world,
yeah,
rather than strict measurement? I guess is measurement is against my own my own personal standards. Perhaps is like I'm here to change the industry. If as a result of what we're building is changing the industry, then that's success to me. Um,
perfect.
so the more people we impact, the more then that naturally ends up leading to change in the industry. Um, and I guess the reason why I don't like measure is because sometimes you literally can't measure it. Like there's people in the background who come up to me like 5, 10 years later and they say, "Thank you for creating this. It's like changed my life." And I literally have no idea who they are. Right? They've been lurking in the background. They've been influenced by the things we've been sharing. They've made connections here and there. They've found a job or an opportunity. It's like there's so many different ways that we can create change that we never actually see. Um, so that's why it's like measurement is like I don't know, but measurement is can we keep going doing what we're doing, and that's hugely important to us, and it's a huge constant challenge I think for any business, but particularly a community business where people struggle to put their money where their mouth is and to say yes, this is valuable to us. Um, so it's like I want to keep going. Partly, I want to keep going for the quality engineering industry, innovate, share ideas, help people adopt better practices. But also, like because of the two worlds for me is community and quality, I want to innovate with community. So part of my driver is innovating with community, and like right now that's shown up in trying to build a better platform, building something that doesn't exist out there, that can really change careers, change the industry, help everyone move forward, not just the people but the companies as well. So it's trying to, if we can achieve that, if we can figure out how to better do that, how to make an amazingly successful community that's profitable, that we can grow more, build our team, get lots of support from all the companies, because if people support us and it just gets fed back out into the community, that's where the success comes. But honestly, it's still a challenge, because it's hard to convince people around the idea of community and investing in it. But we're finding our way, and like the past 18 months, we've been doubling down on the idea of the platform and trying to innovate with what community could be. And almost like, I think a measure of success is, with my drive with community, is can we show the world what a better community platform can look like? Because from what's out there at the moment, I'm not inspired. So it's like, for me, it's just because the way I am, I'm just like a bit focused when it comes to community. I just, if we as quality engineers can show the world how to build a better community, then I think that would be amazing for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So that's my goal. It's like part quality, part community. Let's create something special.
And so, like, this platform sounds really fascinating. And so, like, what are the challenges at kind of scaling that platform so that your platform is, rather than measurement, effective? Like, try to be effective. And what are the things that are hampering that potential effectiveness as you grow that platform?
I guess challenges are, business model, I guess, always evolving. Like, when things are changing, when COVID disrupts things, when, COVID disrupts things with like conferences, for example, and then we all go online, and then all of a sudden people are back to work or back to office, and they're not online as much, and it's not just community that's struggled. It's like the whole world the whole tech world has struggled in the past couple of years with the change of habits. And when you're all of a sudden like designing for online for a couple of years, and then the interest dies off, then you're like, oh, we have to rethink what we're doing. So I guess some of the struggles are based around the constant changing needs and desires of the world, and like now it's AI. For example, there's a big focus on AI. Have you heard of AI? I mean,
I've heard it being mentioned in one or two places. So it's truthfully, it scares me. Not because I think it's going to take people's jobs. It's more, I always look at it from a quality or security mindset, right? Like that's where a lot of my career has been focused. Like so before BrowserStack, I worked at Mozilla for 10 years, or just under 10 years, and one of the things that was always drummed into me is like, what's the worst thing if someone were to hack the code you're writing, right? And so you always do this, and then now it's like looking at vibe coding, and I'm like, oh wow, this looks like a security nightmare. And how people focus on it, and I think kind of, yeah, so yes, I've heard of it. I'm going to be doing a talk on security in AI agents in the next couple of days, so that it's I think it's fascinating, and I think it's changing. It has the potential to change the way we think about quality and quality leadership. And so by quality leadership, I mean leadership within quality spaces, right? And I I think the pace of how people need to change has increased, right? Like you said, like, things are changing from a business point of view. You've had to change your business model, change this, change that. Like, and it's not just like, yeah, I don't know what it's like. I've never run my own business, but like in that space, like having to kind of change how people think and business model and all of this seems to be, it seems like it should be, it's a non-trivial thing to do, right? And truthfully, it sounds a bit scary to me, right? As a kind of person who's never been there, and I look in and go, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that problem. So like, how are you, like, from people you speak to, how internally at working on your platform, like how is kind of the change in quality leadership happening that you're seeing, and how could people start being slightly ahead of the curve so that they can learn continuously? Obviously, like you have your peer-to-peer like framework within your platform that people learn from each other, but like, what is the thing that people should be looking for and learning so that they can get ahead of the curve?
Yeah. So when I was looking into this, like the past 12 months, like I noticed there was a real gap for quality leaders, and as a result of that, it was like I felt like from seeing various conversations that were happening in MOT, it's like there's no one like really leading the way and guiding people, the leaders in spaces of what to do next, or what were leaders actually doing in their day-to-day jobs, or what are the challenges that they're facing. And it felt like lots of people were facing these challenges, but perhaps facing them alone in their own organisations and not having people to connect with. So as part of that, it's like before Test Bash in October, we're hosting a Leading with Quality Day for leaders only, so kind of like senior role and above. But also as part of that, it's like we're starting to build community around just leaders, trying to cater for the challenges that leaders have. And I've been having conversations like this with leaders in quality, essentially talking about is me kind of trying to ask them like, what does your role actually look like day to day, and how has it changed? And I've been asking questions like, how has it changed literally in the past 5 years and stuff like that. And it's been really, really interesting, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but the general vibe, I've had like 10 or 11 conversations so far. The general vibe is what I've noticed is that the past few years, the shift is towards quality engineering as a concept. Like we did a survey at MOT a few months back, and like 80% of people now have quality engineer in a job title of some sort. Right? They're identifying as quality engineers and not test engineers or software testers. That's right. Like the general shift. And people I talk to, they really seem to identify with that as a job role or as a job title. Is like they prefer that over like quality assurance, which people generally have never liked anyways. But this focus on quality engineering feels like a really positive one. And it's kind of crazy because it's literally this like change in one word, like from like quality assurance to quality engineering, but it shows like how much like one word can almost make an impact to our careers and like how other people see us, how the rest of the organization see us. And that's the vibe that I've gotten from other people, is like they feel more seen, they feel optimistic, full of hope now for quality. Whereas I didn't feel that a few years ago, like pre-pandemic. I was not very hopeful. I was not very excited about where the industry was going. But now with this shift, it's like people in senior roles, they're more involved. I see a lot of them reporting to like CTOs, for example.
Okay.
Or there's like product owners, quality engineering managers, and then engineering managers, kind of like a small core group reporting like to the CTO or CEO, and they're getting that opportunity to implement quality better, in my opinion. It definitely seems to look different than what it was before. So it's like test managers generally isn't a thing as much. It's more you have like a quality engineering leader or manager, and then they manage a bunch of quality people that go across different teams, but then they come together. The quality engineering manager kind of supports them from that perspective. So it's definitely more shift left, more continuous quality, more kind of system thinking, quality coaching kind of mindset. And I guess interestingly, like something that always like bothered me over the years is this kind of focus on test automation as the thing that got all the attention. And it's not that it's not important, but it's almost like it was a thing that every quality professional needed to be an expert in, or you weren't relevant.
Yeah.
And there's definitely been a shift from what I've seen, at least, is it's not test automation is still important, but people have kind of admitted that actually it's not as important as what we were doing before. It's like now it's like, one person said it's like 50-50 now. It's like, yes, automation is important, but we have to remember there's other 50%, and that 50% is not automation related. It's just other things that are related to quality. And for me, that's a positive, because it starts valuing other skills within quality that aren't necessarily automation. It's still technical focused, but yeah, this emphasis on automation, I think, has been quite unhealthy over the years, and hopefully now with a quality engineering mindset, I think will probably balance out a bit more.
Yeah. One of the things that you said there that it just like triggered a memory, and it's I remember I think I was either talking to Marit or I was listening to a talk that Marit gave, and she was saying how testing, like the way we think about testing is kind of, people try to think of it trying to be incredibly linear. But it really is just a circle, right? And you're at different points of the circle at different times. So like your exploratory testing or usability or accessibility testing should lead into your automation, which then should free up some time to then lead back into those things, right? So then I think that goes back to your quality engineer thing, right? Like, because before people were thinking like you've got this linear, like, test automation needs to do this, and your exploratory testers need to do this, and it's like someone realized actually as a team we do better together, right? Because we go, well, your strength's here, let me help you get to your point, and then I can go focus on something else, and then you'll come back, and we'll come back to each other constantly, right? And like I was speaking to Simon Pryor, and he was saying how over the years it feels like people that have gone full on test automation, the quality of their product has dropped significantly than those who have thought of a quality mindset within the company. Right? You physically see the difference in quality between those two types of companies. And I never thought of it that way, and I was like, well, actually, I think you're 100% right. Like it is impacting the way we think about things, the way we interact with our products, and I also think the way we interact kind of from a usability point of view, right? No one ever thinks of that as a kind of from a quality engineer, like how a quality engineer would think about it, but it's just as important, right? And that's where the kind of usability and accessibility type testing really can impact things before you even get anywhere near automation, right? But everyone goes, I've got this big hammer and it's automation and I'm going to automate everything. Bang.
Yeah, it's like they've forget or stop looking elsewhere for better solutions because they've got automation on their mind and say, "Oh, we'll just automate it," and they just stop thinking about what potential other ways there might be for doing it. Speaking to someone yesterday actually who their role is a QA lead, the only QA person in the company, and I was asking her like, what she said they do automation, and I was like, okay, cool. Who does the automation? And she was like, the devs do it, and I work with them sometimes to help guide them with some things, but they're best place to do it. But then her role is also is QA lead, but it's also production support. So she's there with hands on with the users, discovering all the challenges that the users are having. So it's like, these are the changes that I love seeing happening. It's like they're figuring out how best to apply quality practices in their own context, in their own organization with, one quality person. And that's what they have, and they're figuring it out, and they're making it work, right? And I do think like sometimes automation is best done by the devs because it's very dev focused work, So why not get them to do all of that and teach them good practices along the way and improve it as you go. It makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think the other side of it is going to your like the change in job titles. I remember I think it was probably around the time that Ministry of Testing got started in 2007. There was the big push in software development engineer in test, right? SDETs. Right, and that then pushed that was the start of the whole shift left movement. Like before even shift left was really an idea, but I think there was that point of like getting engineers or people with an engineering mindset to write testing automation. But I think you're correct. Like a lot of these things should be pushed back onto the developers because at the end of the day, developers are the ones creating the bugs. They don't mean to, right? It's never meant that they're doing it, but they are the ones creating the bugs, and they are the best people to find those and fix them before they get to someone else, right? Because otherwise it just slows down everything, and then it's normally the person at the end of the line who gets moaned at for holding everything up, even though the problem happened hours and hours ago, right? And so like I liked your thing about the person who was kind of the quality engineer but also helping out with customer support, right? Because I think there's a bit of empathy, but like, and they're building in a culture of quality. How do you think people can influence that culture of quality, right? Like obviously it's unique to every company, but what are the steps do you think people could start looking at and try fix?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the phrases that I've started using to explain quality, and I use it to explain community as well. And along the way, I've kind of discovered that quality and community are essentially the same things. So like everyone wants quality, but no one wants to pay for it. Everyone wants community, and no one wants to pay for it.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of things that you can relate community and quality. And I've been saying for a while that community is care. So like as long as you care about something, then community will naturally rise up. And it's the same with quality. As long as you care about quality, then, care about the work you do in the organization that you work for. If you show care, then quality will naturally arise because we'll be looking and advocating to creating the best possible thing. So for me, it's like if to create a better culture, we have to show up with care, and we have to try to create the best things as a result of that care. And what you actually create and how you actually do it will obviously be different for every company. But if you care, you're gonna end up creating like a really, really good product. It's not focused on the actual solution, that it's not focused on the test automation. It's focused on how are we going to ship this within the constraints that we have. How are we going to make this customer happy, even if it doesn't really, even if it's difficult, or it doesn't make financial sense. But if we can show that we care and support that customer, then they're going to feel valued. It's like for me, it's like showing that we care. We have to care about quality. We have to care about our people. We have to care about so many things. And I guess sometimes that gets missed in organizations. It's like, if you don't care, then things slip through the net and bugs start appearing, problems start happening, and you don't try as hard to do things, or all of these things. So yeah, quality as care is my phrase at the moment. So yeah, I'd like to advocate that personally as a culture to strive for.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, really, because it inadvertently enforces empathy. You always need to be thinking, what would the other person, how would they benefit, do things like that, and you're doing that at micro and macro levels constantly. So I really like that. I really like that. And so, like, we've kind of talked about community, we've talked about like quality and things like that. What do you think is going to be the biggest opportunities or challenges that you see in, say, the next 5 years?
Biggest opportunities, I think, quality engineering stepping up. I'm pretty excited about it personally. I think it's almost like, I guess like 2007, it's almost 20 years that I've been advocating for quality from a community perspective. And I feel like it's our time now, and I'm kind of getting that sense that now is an opportunity for us to step up and show that actually we're the best people to lead with quality as testing professionals, or quality professionals, whatever you want to call it. This is what we've wanted for a long time. We do care, right? We do want to ship a better product. We just need to get better at it. And I feel like we are now getting better at it with this more kind of continuous systems-focused approach, being more integrated. And with that comes opportunity. And I guess, as part of that, maybe we've come from more specialist and we're going a bit more generalist, but I think that's okay, because we have to understand the system that we work in to understand the quality of what we output. But for me, that feels exciting as good work that we can do as professionals. And like, who else is going to do it? I don't see any other career path doing it, and I just think that's a really good opportunity for us. And I hope people can start seeing that more and start getting a bit more excited about it, and start naturally engaging with the community and figuring out better ways, or being inspired by how others are approaching it. But when it comes to the challenges, everything's so complex now, I guess. AI, got to bring AI into it, right? The security challenges. We've got a collection on MOT that I've created. Like, the collection is like basically a list of links that you can curate. And I've been collecting stories about problems with AI. And I've called it like AI is going just great. And it's just like links to articles where AI is not going just great, right? But I think that's our challenge. It's like, with all this AI stuff coming in, it's our challenge, and it's an opportunity, because like there's so many quality challenges around that, the ethics, security. That it's, to me, it's like, it's mind blowing and scary, very scary.
Yeah, definitely. I will make sure I go find that curation of links. It's I've got my own at the moment. My favorite one is how Amazon, on an open source project, allowed AI to review the code and auto-merge if it thought it was okay. But the thing it auto-merged was a poisoned prompt that told a VS Code extension to delete everything on the computer, then go and delete all their cloud infrastructure through AWS.
It's just like, yeah, AI is just going great, right? It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it happened on a AWS project called Amazon Q, which is a VS Code extension, and it was just like, oh wow! And it got released, and then kind of people realized, and kind of rolled it back and tried to force updates. Yeah, it's going great. Rosie, these insights on community and building quality and leadership and everything have been invaluable. So before we finish, we're going to head into a quick fire round. In this, I'm going to ask you a question, and hope for a one sentence answer. And then if there's something in there I think people might like, I might just poke you for a bit more of an answer, and then we'll go from there. So, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Favorite testing tool that you've used recently?
Oh my god. I don't do a lot of testing. I quite like the idea of Notebook LM as, I guess, a research tool, an understanding tool, gathering data and information. I'll go with that.
Yeah. I quite like Notebook LM. I use it quite a lot myself, so I can support that one. One testing myth you wish would disappear?
That it's boring. That it's boring work.
Yep. Book every software development team should read in 2025.
I'm going to go with Anne Marie's. I forget what it's called, the Coaching Handbook or something.
Yeah.
So it's on my to read list, but I think it's an important book to cover to understand, and I'd love to see her book, spread across the world, because quality coaching overall, I think, is quite an important concept.
What's the most underrated skill for testers today?
It's systems thinking. I would say systems thinking and research, understanding the organization as a whole, being able to connect the dots. I think quality people need to learn to see the overall picture to help the individual people in the organization. We should be encouraged to do that. That was a long sentence.
But a valuable one. Book, podcast, or person that influenced you most recently in your professional life?
I'm going to go with Simon Tomes. He hasn't written a book. He does run our Twit, which is This Week in Testing, event and podcast. So it's a live event that gets turned into a podcast every week. And yeah, I just came back to MOT after a break, almost a couple of years ago now, and just getting to work with him has been amazing. So and he's been super consistent with Twit, and I think we're about to do our 100th episode in a week or two.
Wow!
And it's just been a joy just showing up every week with the community. Anyone can drop in and come up on stage and essentially get their first podcast experience. So yeah, people should check it out, and Simon's great to work with. He's led that project consistently. That was another long sentence.
No, it's all good. Rosie, this has been really insightful. Your perspectives on community, quality, and everything in between, I think, are invaluable to the space. And so thank you for sharing your time and your expertise with everyone watching or listening today. To our listeners, if you want a deeper dive into the world of software development and testing, make sure you subscribe for more conversations. And to Rosie, any parting words, any parting thoughts, and where can people find you more?
Parting thoughts, come visit the multiverse. We're trying to do good, interesting things there. And I hope you'll come and visit and check it out and explore it. Help expand the multiverse is our phrase at the moment. Every contribution helps us expand and grow for the benefit of everyone. But yeah, you can find me there, basically. I'm there like every single day.
Amazing. And to everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.